Surely.
Hare Krishna. So we are in chapter number 2 today, and we'll be starting from verse number 10.
No, Prabhu. Verse number 1. We have not yet
10.
started.
You have not yet started, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, there was some. Maybe I saw it as 10. No worries. Fair enough. Whatever my host tells me, I do that. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunritamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langati Kiram Yatkribatam Mandashi Guru Nitarinam Parmananda Madhavam. We will start with the first verse. The Lord in the Heart. It's a beautiful chapter which talks about the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So it says, Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Pura Dharayan Atma Yonir Nashtam Smritim Pratyavayudya Tushtata Tatha Tatha Sasrajyadam Amoga Drishtair Yathapoyat Praga Vyavasaya Buddhi. So Vyavasaya Buddhi. Okay, can go up, Prabhu. Can someone read the translation, please?
Yes, Prabhu. Shri Sukdev Goswami said, formerly, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on the Virat Roop, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus, he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before. The example cited herein of Shri Brahmaji is one of the forgetfulness. Brahmaji is the incarnation of one of the mundane attributes of the Lord. Being the incarnation of the passion mode of the material nature, he is empowered by the Lord to generate the beautiful material manifestation. Yet, due to his being one of the numerous living entities, he is apt to forget the art of the creative energy. This forgetfulness of the living being, beginning from Brahma down to the lowest insignificant ant, is a tendency which can be counteracted by meditation on the Virat Roop of the Lord. This chance is available in the human form of the life, and if a human being follows the instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam and begins to meditate upon the Virat Rupa, then revival of his pure consciousness and counteraction of the tendency to forget the eternal relationship with the Lord can follow simultaneously. And as soon as this forgetfulness is removed, the Vyavsayic Buddhi, as mentioned herein and in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41, follows as soon as this forgetfulness is removed, follows at once. This ascertained knowledge of the living being leads to loving service of the Lord, which the living being requires. The kingdom of the Lord is unlimited, therefore the number of assisting hands of the Lord is also unlimited. The Bhagavad Gita asserts that the Lord has his hands, legs, eyes, and mouths in every nook and corner of his creation. This means that the expansions of the differentiated parts and parcels, called the jivas or living entities, are assisting hands of the Lord, and all of them are meant for rendering a particular pattern of service to the Lord. The conditioned soul, even in the position of a Brahma, forgets this by the influence of the illusory material energy generated out of the false egoism. One can counteract such false egoism by invoking God consciousness. Liberation means getting out of the slumber of forgetfulness and becoming situated in the real loving service of the Lord, as exemplified in the case of Brahma. The service of Brahma is a sample of service in liberation, distinguished from the so-called altruistic services full of mistakes and forgetfulness. Liberation is never in action, but service without human mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is so nice, actually. The important word in this is Vyavasaya Buddhi. This Vyavasaya Buddhi is the aspect of that in the Bhakti, where with one resolute mind, you are able to remember the Lord. Otherwise, what is our problem? Actually, our position is Jivara Swarupa Nitya Krishna Das. But due to forgetfulness, we are thinking that we are the Lord. Ishwaroham, aham bhogi, siddhoham balvan sukhi. So, the best way to revive the consciousness is start remembering the Lord again. So, as soon as you start remembering the Lord, we come to know what is our eternal relationship, and that eternal relationship is the way to remove the forgetfulness of who is Krishna, who am I, and how are we connected. Most importantly, our condition of forgetfulness is our chosen aspect. हम लोग ने खुद उसको choose किया है. It's not given by the Lord. The Lord has given us everything. When He created us as a विभिन्न अंश, जब भगवान ने हमको सबसे पहले बनाया विभिन्न अंश, उस टाइम पर हम माया में नहीं थे. हम भगवान की तथस्थ शक्ति थे, और तथस्थ शक्ति मतलब he has two options. He can go left, he can go right. मतलब वो material world भी जा सकता है, वो spiritual world भी जा सकता है. और जब हमारा जन्म मतलब भगवान के शरीर से जब हम विभिन्न हो जाते हैं, सेपरेट हो जाते हैं, तो हमको एक मौका मिलता है, या तो हम भगवान की सेवा में आए, या तो हम माया की सेवा में जाए. और वो जो चॉइस है, that choice has to be used in the right way. So our fall down, हमारा जो पतन है, वो तब होता है जब हम सोचते हैं कि हम स्वामी बने. तो अगर हमको स्वामी बनना है तो हमको गोलोक वृंदावन छोड़ना पड़ता है, वैकुंठ छोड़ना पड़ता है, and that is called forgetfulness. And Vyavasaya Buddhi means to get back into the consciousness. So 241, what does it say? It says Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Eka Kuru Nandana Bahushakaya Anantascha Buddhaya Vyavasatmina. Those who are on the path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute has many branches. अभी many branch कैसे होता है? There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita where it says that माम च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्ति योगिना सेवते. व्यभिचारी का मतलब क्या है? व्यभिचारी मतलब जिसका एक से ज्यादा स्वामी है. Especially when we look into the aspects of a woman with a husband, she cannot have two husbands at the same time. तो व्यभिचारिणी हो जाती है. वैसे ही जीव जो है वो भी व्यभिचारिणी हो जाता है जब वो एक से ज्यादा को वर्शिप करता है. हम रिस्पेक्ट सबको कर सकते हैं, वर्शिपेबल इज ओनली कृष्णा. तो यहाँ पर हाउ डज दैट व्यभिचारी स्वभाव कम्स? व्हेन यू हैव मल्टीपल ब्रांचेस ऑफ थिंकिंग. एक ब्रांच नहीं है, अच्छा ये ऐसा हो रहा है, ओके लेट मी ट्राई इट दिस वन देन. तो यू प्लान ए, प्लान बी, अल्टरनेटिव 1, अल्टरनेटिव 2, अल्टरनेटिव 3. तो अल्टरनेटिव्स जब भी विभिन्न प्रकार से हमारे माइंड में आ जाते हैं तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? देयर इज नो मोर एक कुरु नंदना. देयर इज नो एक कुरु. सो हियर Brahmadev has taught us that how to be resolute in Krishna conscious. कैसे हम इसके लिए लिखा, लास्ट सेंटेंस देखिए, द सर्विस ऑफ ब्रह्मा इज अ सैंपल ऑफ सर्विस इन लिबरेशन डिस्टिंग्विश फ्रॉम सो कॉल्ड अल्ट्रुस्टिक सर्विस फुल ऑफ मिस्टेक्स. अल्ट्रुस्टिक सर्विसेज क्या होता है? किसी का भला कर देना, हॉस्पिटल खोलना, वृद्धाश्रम खोलना, विधवा आश्रम खोलना, and keep doing some of the services, which is good, but it does not give you the Krishna consciousness. Why? Because we are not in that mindset. So let's go to the next verse.
Prabhu, 1 minute.
Yeah.
What is this last sentence? Liberation is never in action, but service without human mistakes.
Liberation is never in action. क्योंकि लोग क्या सोचते हैं, लिबरेट हो गया अभी कुछ काम नहीं है. Because the problem in liberation is what, प्रभु, अगर हम ज्ञानी हैं कि मैं शरीर नहीं, मैं आत्मा हूं. Okay, so because we are fed up of the material world, we go out towards the spiritual world. But where do we reach? We reach the Brahma Jyoti. Now Brahma Jyoti is in action, because Brahma Jyoti में कोई सेवा नहीं है. आप अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, you are आनंदमय हो, ब्रह्मानंदी हो, लेकिन the moment you decide to communicate, you fall down, because there is no communication. And here what Prabhupada says, that liberation is never in action, means liberation matlab liberated from the material activities and involvement in spiritual activities. And once you are into the action of Krishna consciousness, service without human mistake होता है. Otherwise अक्सर हम क्या करते हैं, इसके लिए उसका पहले शब्द देखिए प्रभु, altruistic service. The service of Brahma is a sample of service in liberation. जब भी हम liberated होते हैं तो हम भगवान की सेवा में पूर्णता से डीप हो जाते हैं. और इसका proof है प्रभु. What is the proof over here? We are in this material body. Okay, we have so many desires. Okay, so what you say, प्रभु हम मुक्त कैसे हो सकते हैं? हम तो जब तक भौतिक शरीर में है, कुछ ना कुछ तो डिजायर्स आते रहेंगे. But our acharyas have shown us, staying in the material body also you can be liberated. उसके लिए शरीर छोड़ना जरूरी नहीं है, because it is all your mindset of how you are serving. तो उसके लिए शिला प्रभुपाद ने एक ब्यूटीफुल एनालॉजी दिया है. हम सब देखते हैं प्रभु नारियल. हैव यू हर्ड द वर्ड कोपरा?
Yes,
है ना, कोपरा इज द ड्राई कोकोनट, राइट? तो हम क्या करते हैं, जब नारियल को झाड़ से निकाल के काट करके उसको बाहर निकालते हैं, तो इट इज वन सॉलिड पीस एंड यू कैन हियर द वाटर इनसाइड, राइट? फिर हम क्या करते हैं, उसको धूप में सुखाने के लिए छोड़ देते हैं. जब धूप में सुखाने के लिए छोड़ देते हैं, कुछ दिनों के बाद जब भी आप वो नारियल को लेकर आवाज करोगे तो कुड़ 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 आवाज आता है. हैव यू हर्ड दैट? एनीबॉडी? अच्छा. So though the coconut looks, the shell looks the same from outside, अंदर की जो गरी है उसने उस शेल को छोड़ दिया है. So similarly, the transcendentalists who are in Krishna conscious, who are in the service of the Lord, they are in the same material body like us, but internally they are completely detached, because they have only one service of serving Krishna. So here the sunlight is the bhakti marg, the shell is your body, and the internal copra is the soul. So liberation is never in action, but service without human mistakes. So this is how it works, Prabhu.
Prabhu, so then in that case,
yeah.
Even at Paramatma level also it is in action only.
No, Prabhu, Paramatma level में थोड़ा सेवा आ जाता है प्रभु, because you start developing relation as this what you say, the chapter will progress. आप देखोगे कि परमात्मा लेवल में इंटरेक्शन आ जाता है, first interaction, and there is some amount of services there, Prabhu. It is not fully in action. Those who are meditating on Brahma Jyoti, that is the space of inaction, because then Paramatma level में आपके मन में क्या आएगा? Like Dhruv Maharaj, he meditated on Paramatma. So initially it was in action, but the moment the Lord blessed him, he started to act in Krishna conscious way, serving in the same way as Brahma is serving Krishna. ध्रुव महाराज जब नॉलेज में आ गए, उनको जब ज्ञान दिया, भगवान ने शंख लेके उनके सर पर रखा, तो इन एक्शन से एक्शन में आए. परमात्मा लेवल में थोड़ा बहुत एक्टिविटीज होता है प्रभु, वेर आप भगवान के श्रृंगार को देखकर उससे अट्रैक्ट होते हो. मे बी इट इज शांत रस प्रभु. शांत रस में एक्शन बहुत कम होता है, हार्डली एनीथिंग. लेकिन उसमें कैसा है, मन से आप भगवान को प्रेम करते हो, मन से आप भगवान को एग्री करते हो, आप उनके खूबसूरती को बोलते हो कि दैट इज द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल दिस, and there is hardly any interaction, but there is acceptance that the Lord is not formless. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
This is something on a very gray area, Prabhu. It was a good point that you caught for everybody. This I completely missed on this, Prabhu. Thank you.
प्रभु जी एक सवाल है.
जी माता जी।
प्रभु जी अभी बोलते हैं कि गणपति का पहले नाम लेना चाहिए, प्रथम पूज्य। तो हम अगर कुछ भी करते हैं तो पहले गणपति का नाम लेते हैं। अभी आपने बोला कि नहीं, सबका नहीं लेने का, कृष्ण का लेने का, वो मल्टी नहीं होना चाहिए, तो उसको हम कैसे समझेंगे?
माता जी आपका आवाज बहुत लो है, मुझे प्रश्न थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आया। कैन यू जस्ट बी, और somebody was heard it, can you tell me?
पहले प्रथम पूज्य गणपति है।
हाँ गणपति है, प्रथम पूजी का गणपति है।
हेलो, समझ में प्रभु जी सुनाई दे रहा है?
हाँ अभी सुनने में आ रहा है, बोलिए माता जी।
हाँ प्रभु जी आप बोलते हैं कि गणपति को पहले पूजा करनी चाहिए, तभी हम जब कुछ भी कार्य करते हैं तो पहले गणपति का नाम लेना चाहिए।
हाँ
उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं, कृष्ण का ही नाम लेना चाहिए, तो उसको कैसे समझा जाए?
देखिए माता जी, गणपति को प्रथम पूजिका का आशीर्वाद किसने दिया? विष्णु ने दिया,
हाँ, विष्णु ने दिया।
राइट।
या,
बट विष्णु ने ये नहीं बोला कि मैं प्रथम पूजिका नहीं हूँ। मैं आपको उसका एक श्लोक भेजूंगा, या I will give you one shloka where it says कि what is the position of Krishna? ईश्वरा परमा कृष्णा सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिर आदिर गोविंद सर्व कारण कारण। ठीक है, अभी गणपति जो है वो भौतिक जगत में विघ्नहर्ता है, और वो विघ्नहर्ता की शक्ति उनको मिलती है भगवान नरसिंह से, आध्यात्मिक जगत से। तो भक्ति विघ्न विनाश है इस भगवान नरसिम्हा, एंड भौतिक विघ्न विनाश है इस गणपति। ठीक है। अच्छा, ये गणेश और कार्तिक जो है, जो दो भाई हैं भगवान शिव के सुपुत्र के रूप में, ये दोनों जो है ये वैकुंठ लोक में एक है विश्वक सेना के नाम से। तो विश्वक सेना विघ्नहर्ता भी है, और विश्वक सेना जो है सेनापति आधिपति भी है। जबकि नीचे आने के बाद कार्तिक सेनापति आधिपति बनता है, और गणपति जो है वो विघ्नहर्ता बनता है। तो हम वैष्णव पूजा जब करते हैं माता जी, तो हम गणपति को नहीं बुलाते हैं, हम विश्वक्सेन को बुलाते हैं सीधा। तो विश्वक्सेन में गणेश और कार्तिक दोनों आ जाते हैं। एंड कृष्णा तो मतलब बहुत दूर है वहां से, मैं विश्वक्सेन की बात कर रहा हूँ जो भगवान के अनुयायी है। अच्छा, लास्ट एंड नॉट द लीस्ट, कृष्णा प्रथम पूजिका कौन है? अभी आपने बोला प्रथम पूजिका कौन है? गणपति। कृष्ण इज मुख्य पूजिका। तो बड़ा क्या हुआ, प्रथम या मुख्य? व्हाट इज सुपीरियर, मुख्य या प्रथम? चीफ। One is first, one is chief. So where will it go? It will go to the chief first. Chief, yeah. I will send you that shloka on the group. I'll send it to Dhanishta Mataji. She can post it. तो उसके अंदर हम लोग जब मंत्र यज्ञ करते हैं तो वो सब हम बताते हैं कि किस प्रकार से भगवान का पोजीशन इज क्लीन एंड क्लियर। और जिनको गणपति में आस्था है वो गणपति की पूजा करते हैं, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग। वही गणेश जी उनको सही रास्ता दिखा देंगे माता जी, डोंट वरी।
थैंक यू प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्ण।
थैंक यू माता जी। Yeah, shall we go to the next verse, Prabhus and Matajis? Okay. शाब्दस्य हि ब्रह्मण एष पंथा यन्नामभिर्ध्यायति धीर अपारत हि परिब्रह्ममस्तत्र न विन्द्रते अर्थान् मायामये वासनाया शयनः। Yeah. Someone can read the translation?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please read.
Translation and purport by Prabhupada ji. Jai Shri Prabhupada ji. The way of presentation of the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned souls hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. Purport. The conditioned soul is always engaged in laying out plans for happiness within the material world, even up to the end of the universal limit. He is not even satisfied with available amenities of this planet Earth, where he has exploited the resources of nature to the best of his ability. He wants to go to the moon or the planet Venus to exploit resources there. But the Lord has warned us in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16 about the worthlessness of all the innumerable planets of this universe, as well as those planets within our other systems. There are innumerable universes and also innumerable planets in each of them, but none of them is immune to the chief miseries of material existence, namely the pangs of birth, the pangs of death, the pangs of old age, and the pangs of disease. The Lord says that even the topmost planet, even as the planet known as the Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, and what to speak of other planets like the heavenly planets, is not a happy land for residential purposes due to the presence of the material pangs, as above mentioned. Conditioned souls are strictly under the laws of fruitive activities, and as such, they sometimes go up to the Brahmaloka and again come down to the Pataloka, as if they were unintelligent children on a merry-go-round. The real happiness is in the kingdom of God, where no one has to undergo the pangs of material existence. Therefore, the Vedic ways of fruitive activities of the living entities are misleading. One thinks of a superior way of life in this country or that, or on this planet or another, but nowhere in the material world can he fulfill his real desire of life, namely eternal life, full intelligence, and complete bliss. Indirectly, Sri Sukdev Goswami affirms the Maharaj Parikshit in the last stage of life should not desire to transfer himself to the so-called heavenly planets, but should prepare himself for going back home, back to Godhead. None of the material planets nor the amenities available there for living conditions is everlasting. Therefore, one must have a factual reluctance to enjoy such temporary happiness as they afford. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Oh, this is a very heavy statement.
Yes.
See this, Shukdev Goswami. Acha, just a minute. I would just want you all to unmute everybody and chant this shloka with me about this is the question by Sangeeta Mataji. तो मुझे वर्स मिल गया है. Thanks to Chaitanya Gungan Prabhu over here. तो बोलिए सब लोग. Om Krishno Vai
Krishno Vai
Satchidananda Ganaha
Satchidananda Ganaha
Krishna Adi Purushaha
Krishna Adi Purushaha
Krishna Purushottamaha
Krishna Purushottamaha
Krishna Saha Sarvaikaryaha Krishna Kasham Kridadisho Mukhya Prabhu Pujya Krishno Anades Tasminna Ajantarabaye Yan Mangalam Tallabate Kriti. तो देखिए इस श्लोक है, ये है ऋग्वेद कथा ऑफ कृष्ण उपनिषद से. कहते हैं कि कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद गणः, मतलब कृष्ण जो सच्चिदानंद है, कृष्ण आदि पुरुषः, कृष्ण पुरुषोत्तमः, कृष्ण स सर्वै कार्यः, सारे कार्यों का जो स्वामी वो कृष्ण है. कृष्ण कृदादिशो, आदिशो मतलब कृत मतलब प्रेजेंटेड, आदिशो मतलब he is the first one. आदिशो मुख्य प्रभु पूज्य. संगीता माता जी, did you hear that? मुख्य प्रभु पूज्य. And then it says अंतर बाह्य, जैसा बोलते हैं ना, बाह्य नरसिंहो हृदय नरसिंहो, like that it says कृष्ण अंतर बाह्य यन मंगलम लत लभते कृति, जिसके नाम मात्र से या जिसके स्पर्श मात्र से या जिसके बाजू में रहने के मात्र से क्या होता है, सब कुछ मंगलमय हो जाता है, तत्कृति. So this is how it works. Clear है माता जी?
हाँ प्रभु जी प्लीज ग्रुप में रख देना ना ये श्लोक.
मैं ग्रुप में श्लोक डाल दूंगा, ठीक है. ऋग्वेद का श्लोक है, और ये हम लोग ब्राह्मण जब ये यज्ञ करते हैं तो इसको पढ़ते हैं हम लोग. so that we are all in the sync that yes, Krishna is the first पूज्य. अच्छा, तो यहाँ पर अभी क्या बोलते हैं कि भौतिक जगत के अंदर हर मनुष्य जो है वो he is trying to exploit the nature and enjoy some happiness, but वो होता नहीं है. After some time it becomes extinct or it becomes मतलब it goes missing. So इधर क्या बोलता है कि there are innumerable universes and also innumerable planets, and in each one of them, but none of them is immune to the chief miseries of material existence, namely birth, death, old age and disease. So भगवद गीता में भगवान बोलते हैं कि आप ब्रह्म भुवन आलोका, that is 8:16, पुनरावर्तनो अर्जुन माम उपेत्य तो कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. जब तक आप इस भौतिक जगत में हो, ब्रह्मलोक में जाओ या पाताल लोक में जाओ, कहीं पर भी जाओ, आपको शरीर त्याग करके धरती पर आना पड़ेगा और कर्म करने पड़ेंगे. और शुरुआत कहाँ से होती है? वेदों में लिखे हुए कर्म कांड से शुरुआत होती है. Can anybody tell me the difference between karma kand and karma yoga? A simple definition. Somebody would like to contribute between karma kand and karma yoga?
तो मुझे कर्म कांड में फल की इच्छा होती है और कर्म योगा में अपने को फल की आशा नहीं रखनी होती है.
काफी नजदीक हो.
हाँ.
In
Okay.
you offer everything to Krishna and do your work.
The result we give it to the Krishna in the Karma Yoga. Karma Kanda, we want to take the result.
Yeah, actually, that is an absolute answer. Thank you very much. Karma Kand is देवी देवता पूजा, कि मैं देवी को खुश करूं, देवता को खुश करूं और उसके एवज में जो फल प्राप्ति हो उससे मैं एंजॉय करूं. कर्म योग में क्या होता है, आप वही चीज कृष्णा के साथ भी करते हो सकाम कर्म में. So instead of in the kand you go to a devata, in the yoga you go to Krishna. So there is a difference of personality. The moment you go to Krishna in karma yoga, so that is the right position. Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajata purusham para. You have no kamna, you have sarva kamna, but when you do the tivra bhakti yajata purusham param, you are accordingly rewarded. But the beauty in karma yoga is what? From sakam karma you will reach to nishkam karma, and then you will get into a loving service of the Lord. So यहाँ पर जो वेद जो है, it starts with flowery words. Yam imam pushpitam vacha, chapter number 2 of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 51 and 52. It says that the flowery words of the Vedas entices the human being to perform certain karmas, but it is still better than being an atheist, yeah, going to the ghost or pitras and getting the job done, because though that is not the right way to worship, but at least it is authorized. How हम रातों रात किसी को कृष्ण कॉन्शियस नहीं बना सकते हैं. There is step by step process is there. So in the step by step process, what we do is we bring them to one level. So like in the Krishna consciousness जब हम आते हैं, तो never tell a person क्या प्रभु आप देवी देवता की पूजा कर रहे हो. At least he is in the right frame. He is not wrong, but he is not understanding the complete picture. But his asta in Ganpati, Shiv, Parvati, Surya Narayan, Kartikeya, whoever the personality is, as far as they are Vedic, it is acceptable. But from there, what we do as a good friend, just keep the hand on the shoulder and say, Prabhu, you're doing a great job. Thank you for coming. Would you mind just accepting one instruction? What is it? Ek request hai bolo. Can you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or can you take Narayana's name, or can you listen to Vishnu Sahasranam in a day? All you need to do is just add a few things and leave it. What you have added, that will start to work. Automatically, the Lord within will start to give him the understanding of what is to be done. And this is where slowly from Karma Kand we come to Karma Yoga, Sakam Karma to Nishkam Karma to Seva Bhakti, and from Seva Bhakti it goes to Ruchi, Asakti, Prem, and so that is how it goes, Sneha and Prem. So eventually, these are step-by-step things. For example, Why I am telling that it needs to be kept at that way? There is a very simple analogy. Suppose there is a 6-year-old boy and you tell him 2 plus 2 is equal to, he'll say 4. And you give him some mathematical calculation, he will do that. Tell him that A plus B is equal to C. So he might look at you thinking, प्रभु जी ABCD को हम कभी प्लस नहीं करते हैं, हम सिर्फ नंबर इसको प्लस करते हैं. But as the child grows and when he comes into the world of trigonometry, when he comes into the world of geometry, what he sees, algebraic expressions, there is A plus B also is equal to C. So neither he was wrong in that age, nor you were wrong in this age. So similarly, here Shukdev Goswami is very firm. He says that the Vedic inception of enjoyment is fake. And remember that particular Shabd Prabhus and Matajis at the start of the Bhagavatam. What is the second verse of the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam? Canto 1, chapter 1, verse number 2. What is the first line? Can anybody share? Or you can have a look in your respective devices and say, what is the first line? Can you share? It says, Dharma Projita Kaitava. It says Dharma Projita Kaitava. It means Kaitava Dharma means what? Dharma Artha Kama Moksha. But if there is no bhakti to it, there is no nishkam karma to it, it creates a problem. So we will go to the next verse. Any doubts in this particular verse before I proceed?
No problem.
It is Vishnu Sahasranam, Mataji. Atha Kavairnam Suyavadartaha Syadarpamatto Vyavasaya Buddhihi Siddhe Anyatarate Nayate Tatra Parishramam Tatra Samikshamanana. Just go up.
Hare Krishna. Translation. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life while in the world of names. He should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. Purport. The Bhagavata Dharma or the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is perfectly distinct from the way of fruitive activities, which are considered by the devotees to be merely a waste of time. The whole universe, or for that matter, all material existence, is moving on as Jagat, simply for planning business to make one's position very comfortable or secure. Although everyone sees that this existence is neither comfortable nor secure and can never become comfortable or secure at any stage of development. Those who are captivated by the illusory advancement of material civilization, following the way of phantasmagoria, are certainly madmen. The whole material creation is a jugglery of names only. In fact, it is nothing but a bewildering creation of matter like earth, water, and fire. The buildings, furniture, cars, bungalows, mills, factories, industries, war, or even the highest perfection of material science, namely atomic energy and electronics, are all simply bewildering names of material elements with their concomitant reactions of the three modes. Since the devotee of the Lord knows them perfectly well, he is not interested in creating unwanted things for a situation which is not at all reality, but simply names of no more significance than the babble of sea waves. The great kings, leaders, and soldiers fight with one another in order to perpetuate their names in history. They are forgotten in due course of time and they make a place for another era in history. But the devotee realizes how much history and historical persons are useless products of flickering time. The fruity worker aspires after a big fortune in the matter of wealth, women, and worldly adoration. But those who are fixed in perfect reality and not at all interested in such false things, for them it is all waste of a time. Since every second of human life is important, an enlightened man should be very careful to utilize time very cautiously. 1 second of human life wasted in the vain research of planning for happiness in the material world can never be replaced, even if one spends millions of coins of gold. Therefore, the transcendentalist desiring freedom from the clutches of Maya or the illusory activities of life is warned here with not to be captivated by the external features of fruitive actors. Human life is never meant for sense gratification, but for self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam instructs us solely on this subject from the very beginning to the end. Human life is simply meant for self-realization. Thus, this civilization, which aims at this utmost perfection, never indulges in creating unwanted things. Or such a perfect civilization prepares men only to accept the bare necessities of life or to follow the principle of the best use of a bad bargain. Our material bodies and our lives in that connection are bad bargains because the living entity is actually spirit, and spiritual advancement of the living entity is absolutely necessary. Human life is intended for the realization of this important factor, and one should not act accordingly, accepting only the bare necessities of life and depending more on God's gift without diversion of human energy from any other purpose, such as being mad for material enjoyment. The materialistic advancement of civilization is called the civilization of the demands, which ultimately ends in wars and scarcity. The transcendentalist is specifically warned here with to be fixed in mind so that even if there's a difficulty in plain living and high thinking, he will not budge even an inch from his stark determination. For transcendentalists, it is a suicidal policy to be intimately in touch with the sense gratifiers of the world, because such a policy will frustrate the human ultimate gain of life. Sukadeva Goswami met Maharaja Parikshit when the latter felt a necessity for such a meeting. It is a duty of a transcendentalist to help persons who desire real salvation and to support the cause of salvation. One might note that Sukadeva Goswami never met Maharaja Parikshit while he was ruling as a great king. For a transcendentalist, the mode of activities is explained in the next shloka. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. It's so beautiful again, Srila Prabhupada's purports are so enlightening and it makes the person to think about what they should do. So now if you go to see, again it says that the absolute necessity of the human life is to realize that one should accept everything that is related to Krishna conscious only. Now, this can be sometimes, little bit challenging for us. Why Prabhupada always puts an emphasis on giving up everything and being fixed in mind in Krishna conscious? Because there is a happiness in that. But abhi humko pata nahi because we are in a diseased condition. Because Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita 10:9, he says, Mat chitta, mad gata pranaha, bodhayanta parasparam, kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti. So mat chitta, putting the chitta on me, mad gata, keeping me as the destination, prana, your life, giving to me. Mat chitta, mad gata prana, bodhayanta parasparam. Bodhayanta matlab, by keeping me in the mind and constantly talking about my activities. Sambodhit karna. What Sambodhit karna? Not the political things, yeah, kuch newspaper news. Kathayantascha mam nityam. मेरी कथाओं को नित्य अपने लाइफ में उतार के उसकी चर्चा करो. उससे क्या मिलेगा? तुष्यंति च, satisfaction, ramanti च, enjoyment. So it's not that Krishna conscious is all dry and boring and tedious. No. Krishna conscious is a natural way of being happy. The only thing is that in that you understand that sense gratification for our Indriya, there is no scope in to go ahead in Krishna conscious. So that's the reason it says that for a transcendentalist, it's a suicidal policy to be intimately touched with sense gratifiers. There was once a person who wanted to be very rich. So someone said that you go and meet the Shad Goswamis in the Vrindavan. So he was sent and directed to Rupa Goswami. So he said that he told Rupa Goswami that I want to become very, very rich. He says, okay. So Rupa Goswami said, do you see the dustbin there? Yes. Near the dustbin, there is one stone. Okay. Take that stone, that is a touchstone. By touching this, everything will turn into gold. You can keep it and you can become rich. So the man was very happy. He took that and he went away. चला गया. घर जाने के बाद उसने सोचा, if this touchstone can make everything into gold, why was this lying in the kachra dabba ke baaju mein? So it means this man has cheated me. He definitely has something more superior to this, which he has not given me. He went back to Goswami again. He said, Goswami ji, I feel cheated. He said, why? He said, if you feel that this is the thing which can make me rich, but you are not using it, so what is it that you have which is far superior to this? He said, if you want to know what is more superior to me that I have, take this stone with all your might, throw it in the Yamuna, and then come back to me. तो उन्होंने पूरे जोर से पत्थर को यमुना में फेंक दिया. Once the Yamuna फेंकने के बाद, he came, sat down in front of him. He said, I am giving you the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for chanting. This is the verse which will get you out of the material world. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So the Acharyas, they knew. So that is what it says. The transcendentalists, it's a suicidal policy for them to be intimately in touch with sense gratifier of the world. Even though Shukdev Goswami as a transcendentalist and Parikshit Maharaj as the king was also a devotee, but still Shukdev Goswami never went and met Parikshit Maharaj. Because till the time he was in position, he said no. He is doing a job where I have no business. But the moment Parikshit Maharaj gave up everything and decided to meet, immediately the sannyasi came and helped him. This is where we have so many Siksha Gurus, Pradarshika Gurus, Diksha Gurus, who come and they guide us on the path of Krishna consciousness. But till the time you don't make up the mind, they would not come. So in the next sloka, what is the transcendentalist mode of activities is explained. Let's see what is that. Satyam Shitaukam Kashipo Prayasair Bahu Swasiddhe Ya Upabaranahi Kim Satyanjalau Kim Purudhana Putraya Digvalkayadadu Satikam Dukulahi. Yeah, go ahead. Can someone just read the... Yeah. Yeah. Somebody can read the translation.
When there are ample earthly flags to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of varieties of utensils? When there is ample coverings or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? Purport. The necessities of life for the protection and comfort of the body must not be unnecessarily increased. Human energy is spoiled in a vain search after such illusionary happiness. If one is able to lie down on the floor, then why should one endeavor to get a good bed sheet or soft cushion to lie on? If one can rest without any pillow and make use of the soft arms endowed by nature, there is no necessity of searching after a pillow. If we make a study of general life of the animals, we can see that they have no intelligence for building big houses, furniture, and other household paraphernalia, and yet maintain a healthy life by lying down on the open land. They do not know how to cook or prepare foodstuff, yet they still live healthy lives more easily than the human beings. This does not mean that human civilization should revert to animal life or that the human being should live naked in the jungles without any culture, education, and sense of morality. When intelligent human cannot live the life of an animal, rather man should try to utilize his intelligence in arts and science, poetry and philosophy. In such a way, he can further the progressive march of human civilization. But here the idea given by Srila Sukadev Goswami is that the reserve energy of human life, which is far superior to that of animals, should simply be utilized for self-realization. Advancement of human civilization must be towards the goal of establishing our lost relationship with God, which is not possible if any form of life other than the human. One must realize that nullity of material phenomenon, considering it a passing phantasmagoria, and must endeavor to make a solution to the miseries of life. Self-complacence with the polished type of animal civilization geared to sense gratification is delusion, and such civilization is not worthy of the name. In pursuit of such false activities, a human being is in the clutches of Maya or illusion. Great sages and saints in the days of yore were not living in palatial buildings furnished with good furniture and so-called amenities of life. They used to live in huts and caves and sit on the flat ground, and yet they have left immense treasures of high knowledge with all perfection. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatan Goswami were high-ranking ministers of state, but they were able to leave behind them immense writings of transcendental knowledge while residing only for one night underneath one tree. They did not live even 2 nights under the same tree, and what to speak of well-furnished rooms with modern amenities. And still, they were able to give us most important treasures of self-realization. So-called comforts of life are not actually helpful for progressive civilization. Rather, they are detrimental to such progressive life. In the system of Sanatan Dharma, 4 divisions of social life and 4 orders of progressive realization, there are ample opportunities and sufficient directions for happy termination of progressive life. And the sincere followers are advised therein to accept a voluntary life of renunciation in order to achieve the desired goal of life. If one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from beginning, one should try to get into habit of at a later stage of life as recommended by Srila Sukadev Goswami, and that will help one to achieve the desired success.
So, yet another heavy statement coming in from Srila Sukadev Goswami as to how one has to lead a life as far as attaining Krishna consciousness is concerned. But Prabhupada mentions it that it's not that we do not have anything in life and go back to animal life or jungle life. No. Whatever is required actually to keep our body and soul together and to keep the few things running, that should be the goal. But anything beyond that comes, surely there is Krishna's mercy and your past karmas. In the bottom line, what it tells is that to become a Krishna conscious person, you don't require the riches and amenities of the life. Definitely not. What you require is an unflinching mindset that no matter what happens, my goal of life is to attain Krishna Prema. And for that, what needs to be done, we'll do it. Like Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were high-ranking ministers of the state. But when the time came, they gave it up quietly, went into the shelter of Lord Chaitanya, and going in the shelter, what did they do? They were instructed by Lord Chaitanya to write treasures of books. Those books which talks about pure devotional service. Now, how many of you have been to Vrindavan and gone to the Radha Madan Mohan temple, which is on the Shatatila? If you go there, you can show by the raise of hands if you have it. If you go there, in the Radha Madan Mohan temple, there is a room inside which there are a few hundred books which has not yet been removed and studied, written by the Shat Goswamis. Because those books are of very esoteric in knowledge and they have so much of bhakti, but to understand that bhakti, we are not yet qualified. So the acharyas, they make a point very clear over here that at any given point of time, our goal should be to achieve Krishna consciousness. But there is a last statement you see here. If one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from the beginning, then one should get into the habit at later stage of life as recommended by Shukdev Goswami, so that it will help achieve one's desired success. But this desired success you will only get if you are sure that that is what you want. Let's go to the next verse. Can you go up a little bit? Yeah. Chirani kimpati nashanti dashanti bhikshanam naivan grihe paha parabhrataha saritopyashyum ashyusyam ruda guna kim akijo avati nupasannan kasmat bhajanti kavayo dhanadurma dadanam. Yeah.
I'll read Prabhuji.
Just a minute. Sorry. In the previous verse, it spoke about your hand being your pillow, your palm being the utensil, the bark being the. So this is the continuation of the same thing. The reason why I did not discuss that point was because I'm sure that none of us as of now are into that mindset of going and living that kind of a lifestyle. But the Shat Goswamis did. In the brutal winter and in the severe summer, they lived that lifestyle, what we are reading over here. Let's go ahead here.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila.
Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity? Do the rivers, being dried up, no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or, above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard-earned wealth? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The renounced order of life is never meant for begging or for living at the cost of others as a parasite. According to the dictionary, a parasite is a sycophant who lives at the cost of society without making any contribution to the society. The renounced order is meant for contributing something substantial to the society and not depending on the earnings of the householders. On the contrary, acceptance of alms from the householders by the bona fide mendicant is an opportunity afforded by the saint for the tangible benefit of the donor. In the Sanatana Dharma institution, alms giving to the mendicant is part of a householder's duty, and it is advised in the scriptures that the householder should treat the mendicants as their family children and should provide them with food, clothing, etc. without being asked. Pseudomenticists therefore should not take advantage of the charitable disposition of the faithful householders. The first duty of a person in the renounced order of life is to contribute some literary work for the benefit of the human being in order to give him realized direction towards self-realization. Among the other duties in the renounced order of life of Srila Sanatana Srila Rupa and the other Goswamis of Vrindavan, The foremost duty discharged by them was to hold learned discourses amongst themselves at Seva Kunj, Vrindavan, the spot where Sri Radha Damodar temple was established by Srila Jiva Goswami, and where the actual Samadhi tombs of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami are laid. For the benefit of all in human society, they left behind them immense literature of transcendental importance. Similarly, all the acharyas who voluntarily accepted the renounced order of life aimed at benefiting human society and not at living a comfortable or irresponsible life at the cost of others. However, those who cannot give any contribution should not go to the householders for food. For such mendicants, asking bread from the householders are an insult to the highest order. Sukadeva Goswami gave this warning especially for those mendicants who adopt this line of profession to solve their economic problems. Such mendicants are in abundance in the age of Kali. When a man becomes a mendicant willfully or by circumstances, he must be of firm faith and conviction that the Supreme Lord is the maintainer of all living beings everywhere in the universe. Why then would he neglect the maintenance of a surrendered soul who is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord? A common master looks to the necessities of his servant. So how much more would the all-powerful, all-opulent, Supreme Lord look after the necessities of life for a fully surrendered soul? The general rule is that a mendicant devotee will accept a simple small lion cloth without asking anyone to give it in charity. He simply salvages it from the rejected torn clothes thrown in the street. When he is hungry, he may go to a magnanimous tree which drops fruits, and when he is thirsty, he may drink water from the flowing river. He does not require to live in a comfortable house, but should find a cave in the hill, and not to be afraid of jungle animals. Keeping faith in God, who lives in everyone's heart, the Lord may dictate to tigers and the other jungle animals not to disturb his devotee. Haridasa Thakur, a great devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya, used to live in such a cave, and by chance a great venomous snake was a co-partner of the cave. Some admirers of Thakur Haridas, who had to visit the Thakur every day, feared the snake and suggested that the Thakur leave the place because his devotees were afraid of the snake and they were regularly visiting the cave. Thakur Haridasa agreed to the proposal on their account, but as soon as this was settled, the snake actually crawled out of the hole in the cave before everyone present and left the cave for good. By the dictation of the Lord, who lived also within the heart of the snake gave preference to Haridasa and decided to leave the place and not disturb him. So this is a tangible example of how the Lord gives protection to a bona fide devotee like Thakur Haridasa. According to the regulations of the Sanatana Dharma institution, one is trained from the beginning to depend fully on protection of the Lord in all circumstances. The path of renunciation is recommended for acceptance by one who is fully accomplished and fully purified in his existence. This stage is described also in the Bhagavad Gita 16.5 as Daiva Sampat. A human being is required to accumulate Daiva Sampat or spiritual assets. Otherwise, the next alternative, Asuri Sampat or material asset, will overcome him disproportionately, and thus one will be forced into entanglement of different miseries of the material world. A sannyasi should always live alone without company, and he must be fearless. He should never be afraid of living alone, although he is never alone. The Lord is residing in everyone's heart, and unless one is purified by the prescribed process, one will feel that he is alone. But a man in the renounced order of life must be purified by the process. Thus, he will feel the presence of the Lord everywhere and will have nothing to fear, such as being without any company. Everyone can become a fearless and honest person if his very existence is purified by discharging the prescribed duty for each and every order of life. One can become fixed in one's prescribed duty by faithful oral reception of Vedic instructions and assimilation of the essence of Vedic knowledge by devotional service to the Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yet another classic. You see, when it talks about Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. So, no need for me to tell you, or no need for you to ask me. We all know that as of now, where we stand, whether we are in Daivi Sampat or Asuri Sampat. Material assets are, it is called Asuri Sampat because it creates an attachment for us. And once that attachment is created, then we are unable to concentrate on accumulating Daivi Sampat. Because the back of the mind, we're always thinking how to work out on things. Many a times, situation makes us very helpless. And then we go to the Lord and pray and say, my dear Lord, please help me. And at that point of time, that Supreme Lord, who's Sarva Karana Karanam, takes care of us. Like, if you go to the, can you go to the translation of this verse 5, please? Just the translation of the verse 5. Yeah. Now it says, are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Okay. Well, there are, if there are many people I have seen that, aap kapde fek do, those clothes, they take it and they wear it. Does the tree not which exists for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity? Trees giving alms in charity मतलब वो अपने फल और फूल जो है आपको फ्री में दे देता है. क्या रिवर में पानी नहीं है? So इसका एक आपको छोटा एग्जांपल देता हूं मैं. The nature is full of things which you can sustain. I'll show you some pictures. Can you see? Can it be seen?
Yes,
Yes.
So,
No, Prabhu, no.
now abhi dekho, can you see? What do you see now? Cherries?
Prabhu, we have to highlight you, otherwise others, this is coming.
What can you see now? Cherries?
yes.
Yes.
Some fruits in the tree?
Yes, mango.
Yes.
Cherries in the tree?
Yes.
Yes.
Plums and raspberries?
Yes.
Yes,
Only plums?
Yes, Prabhuji.
An apple in a raw stage? I'm standing on a highway and having all this in my hands.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this was my trip to Georgia, which is the East European bloc. And when we were traveling long, I saw these fruits on the roadways. I got down, whatever I wanted, I took and I had it. And on the right side, there was a river. We just went to the river and we had some water. Now see, this is what exactly it is mentioned over here. I don't say you go and start living like that or I start living, but the Lord has made the arrangements. But we have decided not to accept it. No need to go and stay in the caves. But this is just, I've given you a small example that the trees which exist for maintaining others have to stop giving alms in charity? No. So rightly the Bhagavatam has spoken about it. So these mendicants, they live on this only. When Lord Ramachandra was in the Vanvas for 14 years, this is what he subsisted on, roots and fruits and water. So everything is there, but as that mentality changes, and that is a process. That is the reason the Krishna conscious process is given for all of us. That's the reason it says that, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered soul? 100% He will protect. But the protection will not come on our terms and conditions. The protection will come by His will and His grace. Why then do the learned sages go and flatter those who are intoxicated with hard and wealth? So what is this question? Can anyone explain me from their understanding? Why then do the learned sages go and flatter those who are intoxicated with hard and wealth? It's a very hard-hitting question, actually.
Actually, it talks of those sannyasis who always keeps on roaming around the people who have a lot of money.
Absolutely, Prabhu. You just hit the bullseye. Perfect. So the question is telling why? Does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Yes. How He will we give up that? Because they are so dear to Him. Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na Kshachati na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labate Param. So this is actually an thought-provoking verses, Prabhus and Matajis. मेरा request होगा कि ये जो second canto के जो ये few chapters है, because the first 3 chapters invokes bhakti. Second canto का पहला 3 chapter is invoking bhakti to the Supreme Lord, and bhakti starts with the Paramatma level. तो नेक्स्ट इसमें हम देखेंगे कि कैसे परमात्मा लेवल की तरफ हम जा रहे हैं.
और प्रभु सुखदेव गोस्वामी को ये कहना क्यों पड़ा कि भाई this why this sentence has been just I wanted to have your opinion on that.
See, Prabhu, if the first chapter you see, Canto 1, chapter 1, verse number 10, it says, Prayana alpa ayushya sabbe kalau asmin yuge janaha mandaha sumanda mata manda bhagya upodrita. कलयुग का बारे में क्या है करके प्रश्न पूछा द ऋषि मुनि, शौनक एंड सूत गोस्वामी एंड शौनक ऋषि, इन दोनों के बीच में जब वार्तालाप हुई, सो द क्वेश्चन वाज कलयुग के इंडिकेशंस कैसे, अल्प आयु, मंदाह सुमंद मत मंद भाग्य उपदृत. इट मींस द कैरेक्टर ऑफ द पीपल इज कंप्लीटली डिस्ट्रॉयड. So if that is destroyed, it is definitely going to affect even the sannyasis, because they also come from the same society, same mindset. So that is the reason in Kataksh, Shukdev Goswami is telling what is the need, because he knew that this is going to happen, because they were Trikaldarshis. तो उन्होंने हमको आगाह कर दिया. They are given us एक चेतावनी that my dear friends, be careful, this is going to happen, because they knew what was coming. Because when you reach the 12th canto, and ancient prophecies fulfilled नाम का एक chapter है, in that you will get to know more on these things, bro. Okay, we can go to the number 6. What I would do from here is, for the sake of time, I will read the 3 verses and the translation. The purport, I leave it for you all to read it. Should you have any doubt, kindly message me, I'll reply back, okay? एवं स्वचित्ते स्वतः एव सिद्धा आत्मप्रियोऽर्थो भगवान् अनन्तः तं निर्वृतो अन्यथा हरो भजेत संसार हेतु प्रमाच यत्र. Yeah. If someone can read.
Thus being one must render.
I think someone is.
I will read, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Okay.
could please read. Yeah.
Translation. Thus, being fixed, one must render service unto the super soul situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency. Because he is the almighty personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited, he is the ultimate goal of life. And by worshipping him, one can end the cause of conditioned state of existence. Jai Shri.
So, when it says about what should be the next step, So now from here the introduction comes. In the previous one it asks a question, is it not that the Almighty Lord will take care of his sincere and pure devotees? Then what is the need to go around such people? That is the transition period of bringing us to the introduction of who is worshipable, on whom should we think about it. So in this shloka he says that one must render service unto the super soul situated in one's heart. So this is the first step in personal realization of the Lord. Impersonal से personal कैसे होता है? यहाँ से होता है. So slowly Shukdev Goswami is taking us from one step to another step of realization. That's the reason they say that don't jump to 10th canto directly and start reading about Krishna. You will not understand anything because the fundamentals are not strong. यहाँ पर fundamental strong होता है. तो क्या बोलते हैं? Because the Almighty Godhead is unlimited and eternal, He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping Him, one can end the cause of conditioned state of existence. So the moment you think about Krishna, your chitta will become purified. Because how, suppose we are like a rusted iron rod lying in the rainy season on the floor, no use. But the moment I put the rusted rod in the fire, it becomes the quality of the fire. So same way, ending the condition state of existence means giving up our material desires and taking up the spiritual desires. And that is one of the reasons. I'll read a verse for you how this happens. It's a beautiful verse. I'm sure during the puja and everything in our house, this particular verse is chanted. So it is 12, 13, 1. You can just make a note of it. It is 12th canto, chapter 13, verse number 1. Technically speaking, this is the last chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Yam Brahma Varunindra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyestavair Vedai Sangha Pada Krama Panishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgate Namanasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginam Yasyantam Na Vidu Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So this verse, which starts with one should render service unto the Supreme Soul situated in one's heart by this omnipotency because he's the Almighty Personality. Now, Prabhu had asked one question about liberation is never in action. When that question was asked that how it said, that's the reason it says one must render service. And also when we said that Super Soul is in action, no. Super Soul, the action begins. It may not be great, it may not be to the level of how people serve the Lord in person, but the service starts. And how it starts? By meditation first. So first you're coming to the agreement that God is not formless, God has a form. Now when you see the form, it's but natural you will scrutinizingly see how he looks. And that is where the Uttama Shloka begins. Let's go to the next verse. Tastam Tonadritya Paramanuchitanam Chintana Chintam Rite Pashun Hasatim Namakuryat Pashyanjanam Patitam Vaitaranyam Swakarmajan Pratipana Jushanam. Yep. Translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Who else but the gross materialists will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only? Seeing the mass of people fallen in the river of suffering as the consequence of acquiring the result of their own work.
Now this is the sarcasm over here. There is a sarcasm over here. And in the purport, the first line it says that in the Vedas it is said that the person who are attached to demigods to the exclusion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are like animals who follow the herdsman even though they are taken to the slaughterhouse. Now this is something very, very powerful actually. There are certain statements of Srimad Bhagavatam which puts people off. That's the reason a full Bhagavatam is not read. Only the Rasa Panchadhyaya is read over there. Many of them, they say Rasa Panchadhyaya is the cream of it. But without understanding these questions, you will never understand. So here it says that who else but the gross materialist will neglect such transcendental thought? Who will neglect? Those who are gross materialists. And they take the non-permanent names. What are the non-permanent names? The non-permanent names are
all
when they
demigods.
take the names of demigods actually. Here the non-permanent names are that. That's the reason we have to be very careful. The Vishnu Sahasranam, Lakshmi Sahasranam, Radha Sahasranam, Chaitanya Sahasranam, Narsimha Sahasranam, Vara Sahasranam, Venkatesh Sahasranam. Why these Sahasranams were given? So that we actually understand that these names belong to the Supreme Lord. Not that you take the Devta's name, you will go to hell. When they are in exclusion of Supreme Personality of God. See that statement. Attached to demigod to exclusion of Supreme Personality, because these names are given by the Lord only when the material world is created. These are the names of the Lord. Indra means king, that is Krishna. Mahesh means Supreme Ishwar, that is Krishna. Shiv means Supreme Lord, who is pure. So sometimes when I say Shiv, you will think it is Lord Shiva. Yeah, that is Lord Shiva. But at the same time, qualitative wise, it is Lord Narayana. So that name Narayana is given to Shiva, that you are all auspicious. So the name Namkaran jo hota hai, wo Narayana karte hain. So seeing the mass of fallen people in the river suffering the consequence of acquiring the results of their own works. And there is a particular statement in Bhagavatam where the Devtas are praying to the Lord and telling that it is the foolish people who think that they will cross the ocean like a Pacific by catching the tail of a dog. A dog knows to swim very well, but you think that the dog can swim, so I will catch his tail and cross a Pacific Ocean. That is utter foolishness, because that is not possible. They are definitely both are going to drown. So that the same way, those who think that by doing karma kanda and keeping the devtas happy, I will be able to achieve the goal of life, that is an absolute mistake. Because the devtas themselves are non-permanent. Even they get annihilated. Even Brahmadev gets annihilated after 311 trillion 40 billion years of life, earth years. He also gets annihilated. So one has to think in the right way. Next verse, please. केचित् स्वदेहान्तर हृदयावकाशे प्रादेशमात्रं पुरुषं वसन्तं चतुर्भुजं कंज रथांगशंख गदाधरणधार jana smaranti. Now see, so beautiful. It says kechit swadehantra. It says that others conceive the personality of God residing within the body in the region of the heart, measuring only 8 inches, with 4 hands carrying Shank, Chakra, Padma, and Gada, respectively. So this is the Paramatma feature of the Lord. This is the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And this Paramatma feature, jaise hum aage badhenge, you will see that there are 24 Paramatmas. Keshvaya Nama, Narayana Nama, Madhva Nama, Govinda Nama, Vishnava Nama, Madhusudana Nama, Trivikrama Nama. When you do your Achaman and body purification, you take the 24 names of the Lord, starting with, ending with Krishna Nama, which is your left hand over the right arm and right arm over the left arm. So these things, who saw this 8 inches personality? This 8 inches personality was seen by Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of his mother when the Brahmastra was hit on Uttara's Garbha by Ashwathama. So that is the time, the same thing he had seen. And from there on, he became Parikshit, means examining that where is the Supreme Lord. And here it shows the Paramatma which is staying in our heart is of what height and everything. End of the day, see here it is mentioned. Can you see? Prabhu, Purushottam, Achyuta, Narsimha, Trivikrama, Rishikesh, Keshav, Madhav, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarshan, Sridhara, Vasudeva, Damodara, Janardana, Narayana, Hari, Padmanabh, Vaman, Madhusudana, Krishna. They are Vishnu Murti, Adhoksha, and Upendra. So there are 24 forms of localized personality of Godhead. And this we chant every day when you purify yourself. When you apply tilak and when you take the jalam, you completely purify our Lord. And after the Niyas Mudra is done, you are ready to worship the Lord. And they are worshipped in different planetary systems. Can Can you just go down a little bit on the puppet? Yep. So the Lord exists as Purusha or the male enjoyer, although there is no comparing him to any male form in the material world. But all such forms are Advaita and non-different from one another, each of them eternally young. The young Lord with 4 hands is nicely decorated and described below. So let's go to the description. Now, when you look at the Lord, what it says, Prasanna Vaktram Nilayana Takekshanam Kadamba Kinjalka Prashanda Vasanam Lasan Muharatna Hiranyamayan Mayanangadam Spuran Maharatna Krita Kirita Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam. So it says Prasanna Vaktram. Bhagwan ekdam prasanna dikhte hai. Just a minute, Prabhu. Just keep the translation and the shloka on the same page, because we are already on the last verse of today. Excellent. So it says, Prasanna Vaktram Nalinayana Ekshatam. So this is the number 9. This is 48, 45 till 4852. Yeah, I'll check here. So here it says Prasanna Vaktram. It means happiness. The mouth is spread like Nalina Ayata. It is like a lotus. Ikshanam, Kalamba. Eyes are like Kadamba flower. Kinjalka, saffron. Pishanga, yellow. Vasam, garment. Lasat, hanging. Maharatna, valuable gems. Hirannamay, made of gold. Angadam, ornaments. Purut, glowing. Maharatna, valuable jewels. Kirita, headdress. Kundalam, earrings. You can read the translation now.
Hare Krishna. His mouth expresses his happiness, his eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, and his garments yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with a valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings.
So the people who think that God is formless, for them there is an answer that God has a form. And what kind of a form? It's transcendental. His mouth expresses happiness. How many of you have seen Tirupati Balaji face closely?
Yes, Prabhu.
We have seen
How is the smile on the face? It is so attractive.
Yes.
Or you see any Krishna Murti, or now take the Ram Lalla who was recently installed in Ayodhya. How was his face? Attractive?
Very soumya and attractive.
So the mouth expresses happiness. आप कितना भी दुखी होने तो प्रभु और माता जी, जब भी आप मंदिर में जाके भगवान का श्रीमुख देखेंगे, उनका हैप्पीनेस देख के आपको खुशी होगी. Eyes are like petal of lotus, garments yellowish of saffron kadamba flower, bedecked with valuable jewels, ornaments made of gold, set in jewels, and he wears glowing headdress and earrings. What would be your personal choice? You can close the, what you say, you can stop sharing the screen so that we are all on the same screen. So the question is that, how would you like to receive the Lord, formless or with form? What gives you the happiness?
with form only.
Prabhu.
Okay, when you go by the form, you are able to assimilate and relate to the Lord. And the Lord is also giving you all his mercy in his form. There is, like, for example, the Tirupati Balaji stands like that, and one hand is like that. You go to Vithala, he stands like that. So different Lord in different areas are giving different kind of benediction. When you go to Srirangam, the Lord is lying down. When you go to Kanchipuram, the Lord is Vardaraja Swami. So this way you see how things are taken care by the Lord. First, he gives you happiness. Looking at him, your stress goes away. You just go to the Shinaji Haveli in Dubai. Go and sit there for 5 minutes. All your stress is gone. So this is how going to the Lord will always give us that happiness. I open the floor for question answers or any kind of realization.
These 24 forms जो बताए हैं, they are all the forms of Vishnu who is sitting as Paramatma.
Yes. Yes. 24 forms of the Lord is like that. Dhanishta Mataji,
Yes, Prabhu.
do you have the Goloka chart? I'd sent it to Prabhu once on the group.
I will just find it, Prabhu, on the laptop.
It is in a PDF format. If you could open that and then Rao Prabhu can just say, I'll show it to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, by the time, small question.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sakam karma, this karma, when we pray to the Lord, like for somebody's health or for the well-being, so it does also come in sakam karma?
No, Mataji, praying for somebody's health for a Vaishnava, you're not going to get anything out of it for your personal benefit. You only understand that if this devotee has to have a long life so that he can serve the Lord. So in fact, this is the service of the Lord you're doing, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Dhanishta Mataji, I'm forwarding you that. Yeah, it's going to come to you now.
Okay, Prabhu.
Done.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So just open that and Rao Prabhu can just explore the blue. You go to the Vaikuntha planet, Prabhu. Goloka is pink and Vaikuntha is blue. So just open the blue one and just little bit expand it. Yeah. So can you just expand the blue one, Mataji?
Sorry, Prabhu. Actually, it's not getting 1 second, Prabhu.
उसको थोड़ा सा ये करना पड़ेगा.
Prabhu, we will talk to Suval Prabhu. If possible, can you continue with this chapter 2 at least for a few Sundays, for a few Saturdays?
The next Saturday I'll be a little bit busy, Prabhu, but we can work it out. No worries.
Because it is very, very, you have to hit, you are hitting hard on the things. So unless we understand and all those things.
So if you want to see the 24, yeah. Yes. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Yes. Keep doing that. Bring the yellow one in the center. Yeah. So you see in the third avarana. Yeah, keep it in the center, Mataji. Don't blow much now. That's it. Now you see Narayana is in the first one. Second is the Chaturvyuha. Third is the 24 Narayanas. The third is the 24 Narayanas. This one's. Yes, that one. Correct. So now we are in this expansion of the Lord over here. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I think I've offshot the time today. Very sorry about it. But it was like a very interesting discussion. So I had to take the details and get into it, especially the bhakti part of it. We hope and pray that we are able to proceed in a nice way. Is there any other questions anybody has? I can take one more question.
No, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you,
I think
Prabhuji.
everyone loved it. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
ये चार्ट को रखना माताजी, सेकंड कैंटो में इसका काम आने वाला है.
Okay,
In
Prabhu.
fact, I would suggest that you send it to all the members also. So they also have their own copy and they can meditate on it. It will be very helpful. Pramod Mataji.
Sure, Prabhu. Sure. Thank you.
Sushil Prabhu,